Welcome to the Becoming You Show, where limits get torched and possibility takes the mic. I'm Leah Roling, human in permanent beta, neurostrategist, mom to 3 amazing humans, married to 1 legendary soul, and your no fluff permission slip to stop waiting. Every week, we rewire brain patterns, smash hand-me-down mindsets, and dive into the daring, identity-shifting conversations most people dodge. Ready to turn potential into proof? Grab your pen. Your next chapter starts now. Hello, my beautiful friends. How are you? I am so excited that you pressed play here because let's be real. Most people scroll past some of these harder conversations that we have on this podcast. And you're here doing the work that very few dare to do. And I am grateful for you. I am in a hotel room right now. So if you're watching this, hello, I'm in Chicago. I just did a keynote at the M&A conference and it was fantastic. And then I get to fly to San Diego for another conference. It's going to be super, super excited. And I want to get into the nuts and bolts of this podcast today because I want to invite you into a question. And the question is this: when was the last time that you felt your heart race on purpose? On purpose. And if the answer is, does my morning coffee count? You might be what I call surviving bored. Now, you know everything that I deliver here is from love and from a place of tremendous care about your potential, okay? But I want to bring this forward to you because, as I talked about last episode, your brain's ancient motivational triad is whispering. If you are surviving bored, you are allowing your brain's operating system to seek pleasure, to dodge pain, to conserve energy. You're letting that operating system hijack the extraordinary life that you know that you're here to live, but not on my watch, right? So I want to share with you a story as to why it is that this is the podcast idea that I had for this week. My son, Logan, flew down to Scottsdale for what was supposed to be just a little market research trip for his mobile detailing business. 2 days in, he calls and says, Mom, I'm not coming home. Why? Because the air down there crackles with ambition. There is an energy of discomfort, right? There is this idea that people would rather live brave than survive bored. And he decided that that's where he wanted to build his business. Messy, sweaty, heart racing, and all. Is he scared? Totally. Fear of rejection, fear of missing payroll, fear that this whole dream might fizzle. But that fear, my beautiful friends, that's the price tag on a big life. And that's the headline today. A bored life is an expensive one, right? Comfort looks cheap up front, but it'll bankrupt your potential in the long run. So I invite you to take a deep breath in, right? Feel that thump in your chest, and let's trade surviving bored for living brave. And let's do that together through a couple of conversations. Okay. So let's geek out for just a second. Okay. We talked about this last week, and I will probably infuse this in a lot of the conversations that we have, because it's so important for us to be the boss of our brain. Because when we're not the boss of our brain, right, it will hijack, as I mentioned before, our potential, and it will stall our progress on our life in way too many ways, okay? So that idea of seeking pleasure, conserving energy, and avoiding pain is real. It's real. And when we let this algorithm run our life, it will slow down our life, right? Because here's the thing, your brain cannot distinguish between real physical danger and the social or psychological danger of chasing a dream, okay? In the MRI lab, okay, fear of rejection lights up the exact same circuitry as a fire in your kitchen. So when you think, well, what if I launch that product and nobody buys? Your nervous system hears house on fire. Grab the kids, run, okay? So can you remember back to a moment when you wanted something really badly? You wanted that promotion, you wanted that relationship, you were launching a side hustle, and suddenly you felt that flush of heat in your chest, right? Your heart races, your palms get a little sweaty, your brain screams, abort mission. Yeah, that's the smoke alarm. But nobody bothered to really teach us that there's no actual fire. The alarm, that heart rate, those sweaty palms, that's data. That's not danger, right? So when you think about it, I like to use smoke detectors going off, right? That smoke detector going off is just trying to get your attention, that there is something happening, something that your brain wants you to pay attention to in order to re-enroll you into a different possibility, right? Don't utilize, unless of course that alarm is going off and your house actually is on fire, then for sure use that as data to get out. But most of it is just inviting you into an emotion of anxiety, an emotion of fear, an emotion of anxiousness, an emotion of embarrassment, right? Whatever that is, label it, notice it, process it. All of that emotion is just there to inform a greater possibility and potential within you, okay? So once you understand that all emotions exist, right, to elevate you in your potential, we have been misled. We believe, right, because most of us have not been taught, that they are there to protect us, but they're not. They're there to inform us of that next level of potential, okay? So once we have that, let's zoom out. So there's a myth, right, floating around that life should be better than it is, okay? But I want to inform you, okay, what's real is that human life is, best math that we have, is about 50% comfortable and 50% uncomfortable. Joy, pride, curiosity live on one side. Fear, sadness, rejection, discomfort hang out on the other. Now, if you just whispered in your mind and you rejected the concept of this 50-50, I want to suggest to you, okay, that there are two things happening, okay? One, you're not living big enough, right? You've built a very neat padded playground where nothing important is at stake. And I want to challenge you to consider that that's not harmony. That's hiding from your biggest possible life. And none of this, beautiful friends, is in judgment. It's all just, my hope is in reflection of the truth that you already know inside. So one, you're either not living big enough, you're not putting yourself in harm's way on purpose more often, or two,
you're not feeling your feelings at all. You're just buffering, you're scrolling, you're snacking, you're binge watching. You're working extra hours. You're numbing the 30% of your life that you don't want to face. So it looks like 80-20, but costs you depth and intimacy and growth and connection and meaning. So if either of those hit, this episode is your wake-up call. It's your episode to invite yourself to start living big, because the only thing on the other side of a big life is just bigger emotions. Both ways. Both ways, and you can handle it. Bigger joys, bigger happiness, bigger fulfillment, and also bigger rejection, bigger embarrassment, bigger fear. Let's go. Let's be all in on all of it. Right? Because we think that is costly, but living small is wildly costly. It drains purpose, it drains potential, even profit. So, a couple of quick questions that I want you to consider when you think about what it looks like to dream bigger, to live more scared. Okay? What amazing result do you want to create in your life in the next 12 months? I want you to write it bold. I want you to write it out. It just is a possibility drop. And then I want you to write down what uncomfortable fees are you willing to pay for it. Write it down. It might look like a rejection email, right? Putting yourself out there in harm's way to be rejected. That is the price for living the biggest life. Because if you don't give somebody an opportunity to reject you, you're also in the same breath and the same email not giving someone the possibility to accept you. What is that tax? What is that discomfort? Maybe it's looking goofy on a TikTok. Maybe it's finally putting yourself out there to record a podcast where you might not get every word right, and that's okay. And people might not like it, and that's also okay. Because here's what I know for sure. None of us are for everybody. Because if we're for everybody, we're absolutely for nobody. Give somebody the opportunity to say no to you. That's the only way that you ensure anyone willing to say yes to you. So once you have this result that you want to create in the next 12 months, and once you know like 3 or 4 or 5 uncomfortable behaviors, uncomfortable fees, I'm calling them, now we get to do what I call the 24-hour brave sprint. Okay? We get to put this theory into action. Okay? So find that dream, know what you're going to do, and then I want you to put it out into the world, right? I want you to pitch it. I want you to sign up. I want you to ask, right? Email. Put together an action step. Define that it's done. Give yourself a 24-hour window. I call them little dread sprints. Put it out there. Make it count. Give yourself a reason to be rejected on purpose. And the reason why this works, you guys, is because momentum loves speed. The longer your idea sits, the heavier it gets. The longer your idea sits, the more dreadful it becomes. And again, then your operating system that wants to, right, avoid pain at all costs will be like, we've lost our window. I want to remind you that nothing is ever lost. Okay? So let's bring this together in real time. Okay? Where in your life are you surviving bored? Okay. Maybe life feels like deja vu. Maybe you're rinsing and repeating the same day over and over and over again. That is the pattern of disruption that I'm asking you to acknowledge. Okay. Where's the smoke alarm that you continue to misread? Okay. You continue to misread that smoke alarm for safety. You continue to misread that smoke alarm for comfort. Okay. What if that smoke alarm is your invitation to live a life bigger than you ever thought possible? And then what are the hard feelings that you are going to have to get comfortable with to live the biggest life possible? Use all of that to leverage that 24-hour brave sprint. So let me circle back to my son, right? Because when Logan went to Scottsdale, he brought down a technician with him that had been grooming for the manager role to go back into Des Moines, where we live, to run it, while he stayed in Scottsdale to run his business. Logan shared every single SOP, every single spreadsheet, every single marketing idea that he had, the whole playbook. And guess what? Guess what happened? That guy secretly fired up his own mobile detailing brand. Logo, name, etc. All while cashing Logan's paychecks, by the way. One of the techs, right, tipped Logan off. And my kid went from brokenhearted to furious in about 0.2 seconds. In addition to that, in addition to this manager that he'd been grooming to go back into Des Moines to run that business, he uncovers that his profit margins are way off. Bleeding money on chemicals and gas and payroll, you name it. So he was riddled in doubt, riddled in fear. And like so many entrepreneurs, we ask ourselves, is it worth it? Is all of this worth it? Maybe we should just quit. Maybe we should go back and do something that is more consistent, more certain. Maybe we should go back to a job that is more 9 to 5. Maybe we should trade the discomfort for boredom. Does that sound familiar? How many times have we as entrepreneurs quit in our heads? I know for me, sometimes daily. Some days, truly, that resignation letter rolls through my mind before breakfast. And this is what I told to him. And this is what I will remind you, and I have to remind myself of very daily. I said, Logan, he can copy your spreadsheets. He can copy your prices. He can copy your hashtag strategy. He can copy your ad campaigns, right? But what he cannot steal is your heart, is your discipline, and your bravery. That stack of intangibles is your unbeatable advantage. Not against him, not against any other detailer, but in the only competition that matters. Winning the biggest, boldest, bravest life that you can live. And that's the same advice for each and every one of you. The game is the same. There's nothing to prove to anyone except the person that's staring back in the mirror at you. The only scoreboard is this. Column A, I'm committed to winning my life by living large, by living scared, by embracing discomfort when I know that that's the price for the biggest possible life. That's the price for me living into my potential. That's the price for hooking my future up with something that it can be proud of. Or column B, I'm committed to comfort. I'm committing to allowing my brain to survive bored. I'm committing to seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, conserving energy. That's the scoreboard, friends. There are two choices. The choice isn't you against anyone else other than you. And we get to pick that choice every single morning. Are you committed to winning for your life? Are you committed to the promise of your life? We get one of them, friends. Are you committed? Are you committed to living it as boldly, as bravely, and as bigly as possible? Or are you not? This is true for Logan. This is true for me. And this is true for you. Logan is in. The bigger question is, are you? Are you in? Are you in? And if you are in, share it with me. Share your brave sprint with me on Instagram, right? And maybe hashtag living brave. Share it with me. If you don't share it with me, share it with someone. Share it with yourself. Commit to that level of ambition. That ambition that doesn't have to be in the air in Scottsdale. It can be in the heart and soul of each and every one of you, regardless of where you live. Regardless of where you live. If you know of somebody that you see their potential, and sometimes, as we all do, we fail to see our own, share this podcast with them. Wake them up to a potential that you know is there, but they might just be blind to it. I see it in everyone. So I will always challenge it in you. That's why this is not a podcast for the not brave. You have to be brave to listen to this all the way to the end. Because I am not here for your comfort. I am here to challenge you into your potential. That is my job. That is the promise that I have made. That is the commitment that I have made to myself. And that is the commitment that I continue to make to each and every one of you listening to this podcast. So hashtag for me, your brave sprint. Drop a review, share this episode to someone, to me, that could benefit from having you believe in them just a little bit more. And if nobody's told you today, I am proud of you. I am proud of you, for choosing to listen to this podcast, for choosing to commit to something bigger than you are instead of the discomfort of a repeated life. Most people cling to a cheap comfort of a bored life. You're choosing the pricey, the electrifying, worth every penny living path of a brave one. Until next time, my beautiful friends, be bold-hearted, be courageous, be the boss of your brain, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. If this episode cracked something open, good. Let it. And then head to leahrolingcoaching.com and grab the tools to rewire the story and reclaim your future. It is yours. And then share this with someone who's still waiting to be chosen, still waiting for permission, and remind them they don't need a breakthrough, that they are the breakthrough. Until next time, my beautiful friends, invest in you and keep becoming.
Views expressed on this program are those of the host, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the station, its management, or advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.